Yo, mic check, 1, 2, 3. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. And today we will be talking about something very relatable to you guys because it's that time of the year, final season. The semester is wrapping up, and we know it's gonna be a stressful time of rush, time of things trying to figure things out. But let's head on with the quote of the day.
Um, Never regard study as a duty, but as the inevitable opportunity to learn.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that quote is so powerful because nowadays, majority of the people would rather get the answer right than actually learn the concepts. And don't get me wrong, I'm like that too sometimes. I'm assuming you're probably like that too sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But finals is coming up, and whether you're in high school, junior high, university, it's a very stressful time, 100%.
It is for sure.
But yeah, it's just the mindset. With finals, you got to be able to time manage well, cope with your stress. I know that is very hard to do, and you got to do your grind. Majority of the people at this point, like, yo, my professor sucks. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's that time where you can't blame anybody but yourself. You have to do your initiative. You have to do your own work. You have to grind on your own. And yeah.
Yeah, like my mindset is key because I know what I'm taking right now. Like, don't get me wrong, guys, it gets super boring, but the moment you treat studying as a burden is the moment you're gonna mess yourself up in the future. Like, you need to attack it with the mindset of, oh, today I'm learning something new. If you try finding enjoyment in it, even though that can be very hard, trust me, you'll do much better with finals or in school in general. Whereas if you consider it a burden.
Yeah, it's like that saying, like, do things as if you are doing it for fun, not as if you're doing it for a job.
Yeah.
If you're treating studying like, oh, I have to do this. Don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong. It is hard to transition your mind to do that. Especially, I would say, like, for university students, after your second midterm or after November, you're just in that point where I'm getting lazy, I'm getting tired. I just want the semester to end. But look, that's where the discipline has to come. The discipline has to come here, and that's your final stretch and your final time to, like, look, I'm gonna get this straight. I'm gonna do good. Some people, they take finals as a way to actually, boost up their mark, right? And while some people who already have a good mark, the pressure's on you now. The pressure's on you to stay keeping that mark consistent. And I believe pressure is very important in life, no matter, even if you are stressed about it. The pressure is what keeps you going. Pressure is the reason why you're going to do the things you do. If you don't have pressure, you're just chilling there, just nonchalant, just whatever it is, what it is,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, moving forward, how to tackle a final. You want to give your tips for finals?
Yeah, so the biggest takeaway is to start early. Trust me, cramming everything last second, it won't work, especially like, let's say you have a final and you start studying 3-4 days before. Now, some of you might call yourself professional crammers, but if you want to set yourself up for success, then always prepare beforehand. For example, if you have a cumulative final, you should at least start studying like 2 weeks before, or 10-12 days, just because there's so much more content you have to cover. So it's better to start a good 2 weeks before. And if, for example, it's not cumulative, then I think 1 week should be fine. But then again, it comes down to what degree you're in or what class you're taking. Some classes are obviously much harder than the others.
And yeah, with that, it's all about priorities, right? Let's say you have someone that's doesn't have a final or isn't in school right now, or has already finished their final, and you have a final, you have to study, and he's like, or she's like, yo, wanna go watch a game, wanna go out, you wanna grab Osmos at the university district.
Yeah.
It's up to you at the end of the day, right? And if you have that mindset, I saw this on a TikTok post, is what if instead of blaming everybody else around you, blaming your professors, blaming your friends, blaming everything, your time, your work, why don't you take the initiative and make it your fault, right? It's like, if I get a C minus, if I get a 65, it's my fault. But at the same time, that goes in the other direction. I got 100%, I got an A, I got a 90, I got a 95. That's due to my work. You gotta take the initiative. You gotta prioritize. You gotta time manage. You gotta do the work, right? It's all up to you at the end of the day, and it's nobody else but you. I'm not. We could study together,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna take the test on my own. I'm not gonna take his test for me. He's not gonna take my test for me, right? Make sure you learn, and that's the biggest takeaway of school is learning. Sometimes, yes, I'll be like, bro, why am I learning this, bro? What's the point of me learning this, right? But I've learned it's not about what I'm learning; it's about how I'm learning. Because if I can't figure out a certain problem in class, that's gonna relate to the real world, right? Figuring problems on your own. What if your mom tells you to do something that you don't understand, or your boss, or your friend? You gotta be able to think creatively. Oh my goodness, analytically and critically. How am I gonna solve this problem? How am I gonna do this? The same with tests, finals. How am I gonna cope with my stress? How am I gonna cope with this final? How am I gonna time manage? How am I gonna do things properly? Am I gonna procrastinate or what? All up to you.
And for those of you wondering, like some additional tips, when it comes to studying for finals, don't rewrite your notes. That's literally a complete waste of time because you're not even digesting it. Because I know some lecture slides, their notes are so complicated. Like for example, the words, or your obviously our professors, their education level is much higher compared to ours. So sometimes when they have their slides, it's in their own language, so it's much harder to understand. So if you've already rewritten it once and you still don't understand it, then if you rewrite it again, like it won't help you in any sense. Or if you're just copy and pasting it off the lecture slides, that won't do anything either. I think the best way to tackle that is to actually understanding the concept itself, like a mind map, for example. I don't know, a biology class, like I don't know, I'm a bio student. What's like a concept that they would talk about?
In bio,
Yeah.
OChem.
Okay, but like what specifically?
Don't ask me about that. I don't even know, bro.
No, osmosis or whatever it is, reverse osmosis or whatever it is, whatever you guys are learning. Like let's say there's that, and then how does that connect to this? How does it connect to that? You know, just having like a mind map, seeing what connects to what, and then also try teaching it to someone else. You know, for example, if you have a little sibling or a parent, I'm sure that would be very challenging to just get them to sit there and you trying to teach it to them. But if you can do that, that'll also help you as well. And try focusing on major concepts, and because that's what's most likely to appear on your final exams. And the little ones, just pray you remember them. Obviously put emphasis on those as well, but try understanding major concepts and then connecting them to other major concepts, and it's just like one big mind map, so that'll help as well.
I will say though, for the major concepts, I remember, especially in high school, when you do remember the main concepts. Of course, remember that it's huge, right? But as well, do not forget the small details, right? I remember during my calc midterms, I focused on, bro. I got the written all right, and then I made simple mistakes because I forgot to pay attention to small detail. I forgot. Oh my goodness, how did I do this? Bro, it's so simple. Like when you get back your test, you're gonna be like, how did I forget that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, remember the major concepts, but also do not forget the details, the small details, right? And with that, I'm glad you touched on that. And I was gonna say, have a community, right? Community, not with different majors, because that's gonna be completely useless. Well, not completely useless, but like it's gonna be more beneficial if you're studying together with someone, that's either gonna be in your same degree, someone who's already taken it in the past, or someone that, or if you guys have the same final, that's gonna be so beneficial, right? And you said teach it to someone. I'm pretty sure majority of you guys know that teaching it to someone is the best way to study, right? And at the same time, here, give me my tip. I'll give you a tip that I have. So I have a study group. They're my friends, right? Shout out Armand and Jagvir, because I said I'll shout them out last time, right? We're boys, right? So, and we're all taking like the same classes and stuff. And how we study our notes, right? Like I said, we don't rewrite the notes. We don't memorize. We basically study the lecture slides. We do our practice questions, and then what we do, each person teaches it to somebody, even though we already know it. That person, let's say, I'm gonna teach it to you, and then once I'm done teaching it to you, he's gonna teach it back to me, and then that person gonna is a triangle, a rotation, and that basically fully functions into our brain, and we always succeed our test because of that, right? Always have that community within your degree, within your classes, within your people. Do not try to isolate yourself and study on your own. But if you are like that, hey man, props to you, bro. You just genius like that. But majority of the people we can testify this and we could speak to is we really need a community of friends that's in your degree and in your subject.
Yeah, that is very important. What I try to do is, for example, I'll read over everything, like just read over everything, and then I'll get a piece of paper or on my iPad, I'll write every single thing that I remember according to like that topic, and then I go back to the slides and I see, oh, what have I missed, and then I put more focus towards that. So honestly, that could help as well. And that's, I forgot what that method is actually called, but it's scientifically proven that if you do use that method, you can hypothetically get an A plus on an exam, even if you start studying 3 days before. So imagine if you start doing it like 2 weeks before, a week before. So just, I think the biggest issue is time management.
100%.
It's really hard to time manage. Take it from us too as well. I know I can say for myself easily that I struggle with it, and it's hard. It is because there's so many distractions you have, and you want to also have time for leisure activity. But like you've already made it this far. It's been what, 3 months? It's been 3 months already. So just drag it out for this last week and a half, and you'll thank yourself later.
And with time management, I'll just say, with my schedule, I am like we're both very busy, especially that we have our own podcast now. Like this also takes precedence, of course, because what we want to make videos, we want to push content, help you guys out, and as well as for ourselves. But with my schedule, I'm taking 4 classes for business. I every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm majority of the time I usually at church or I'm working, so my weekend is already occupied. During the weekdays, we have to record a podcast. Thank God we found an editor. That saves so much of our time, and at the same time we have to study, right?
Yeah,
so
he's basically one of us, the editor.
right. Sorry. Oh, the editor. Yeah.
Shout out Zane.
Shout out Zane. But at the same time, it's like, look, if your schedule's occupied, our schedule's occupied. But we're saying this because, again, our experiences, we know how to time manage. Even though it's hard, you have to take priorities, right? Sometimes I'm at home. I stay at home. I study, even though it's boring. Sometimes I feel like a loser, but you gotta grind. You gotta do your own thing and then enjoy later. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes our friends ask us to go out, but no, we say no. We have to study. We have to grind. Time management is so key because that will basically determine your whole schedule, how stressed you're gonna be, how advanced you're gonna be, how ahead you're gonna be. My biggest takeaway every time for my first year and second year is I always try to stay ahead of my topics. That way, I have room and time for other things. Because the more you stay ahead of your concepts of what you're learning, the easier it will be for you to balance things out. If you're always behind, you're screwed. I'm sorry. It's gonna get so annoying. You're gonna have to do all these late nights. You're gonna have to do all these things. So try your best to stay ahead. Try your best to stay ahead.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong, guys. Like, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like this past week, I've been very lazy. Like, yeah, I get my things done, but still, it's not what it was at the start of the semester or midway through. And obviously, it won't be like that for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to get complacent and it's easy to get lazy. And I'm just saying this is because I'm like you guys too, and he is as well. We all struggle. We all get lazy, and it's hard. It's very hard to get back on track, but it's just a mental barrier that you have to cross. And it's very easy to fall into this like little pit, like for example, after your second midterm, right? Because for most people after that time, like you might have a small assignment you need to hand in, but other than that, all you need to really worry about is finals. So you're just like, okay, you know what, I don't have to put in the same amount of work till finals. But honestly, it's very dangerous to do that because you're off your momentum. Your momentum has dropped. So I think it's still pretty important to have that same momentum, even though if it's flatline and it's not going up, but just have it there, because if you go into that pit, it's much harder to get out. And for example, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm in that pit right now, and it's been very challenging for me, but I'm working on it, and hopefully I'll get out of it. I will. I will. I'll get out of it.
And look, it takes discipline to first acknowledge that I'm being lazy, right? Because this usually is the time of year where students get lazy. But you need that discipline to keep going, bro. It's literally we're almost there, bro.
Yeah.
Almost there. Then you can relax, right? And I know majority of you are getting lazy, you're getting tired. No, we're telling you right now, bro. Don't get lazy, bro. And this takes accountability for us too, right? Because like he said, keeping it real, we are getting lazy, but we have to keep that discipline going. And yeah, I think let's touch on after you take a final. Okay, for me, before I take a final, I usually pray. You know, I ask God for wisdom, and during the final, you know, I do my best. God does the rest, right? And what I've noticed is bruh, it's hard because with me, I used to be like academically like in high school. I'm like, if I don't get a 90 plus, I'm gonna cry. There was one time I got an 88 and I actually started crying and I thought I failed. That's how bad it is. And I've noticed that it's such a toxic mentality to have that type of mentality. You know, like you have to be always the best. You always have to do this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you also have to give yourself some slack. And I learned that throughout the years. I've learned to take it cool because that is a toxic mentality of, look, I have to be the best at all times. I have to get the best grade. Of course, you know, depends on what you're taking. If you're trying to go to med school or law school, you know, it is very crucial you get those 4.0s and those high GPAs because you need it. Right? But for the vast majority, I'd say is don't let a grade define who you are. Right? Don't let a struggle define who you are. Don't let a number, don't let a letter grade, don't let a even a class define who you are. Just know yourself, know your worth. Don't let it get to your head too much. Because to keep it real, there's a lot of people that get into depression. There's some people even in the history of university that have killed themselves, committed suicide because of their stress of school. And we're telling you right now, look, there's people that love you, there's people that care about you, and you gotta care about yourself too. It's okay to fail sometimes, and you know, there's sometimes we failed a test, a final, and people I know have taken some classes 2 or 3 times. And that's okay. Everybody has their own timing. Everybody has their own success. Don't compare yourself to others because the moment you start comparing yourself, that's where that toxic mentality comes in, and that's what's going to drain you. That's what's going to cause you to overthink. That's what's going to cause you to go into these sort of thoughts and opinions of yourself because now you're comparing yourself to other people, right? And we just want you to know that a grade doesn't define who you are. And then what's most important is you get to your destination at your time, at your pace, right? I could be faster than him, he could be faster than me. It's all good because we're all gonna be at the same destination at the same at one point or the other. That's my take.
Yeah, guys, comparison is the thief of happiness. That's all it is. The only person you should really compare yourself to is just yourself. You know, just see like, hey, my midterm I got a B. My final I got a B plus. Be proud of yourself. Pat yourself on the back, especially if you've put your 100% into studying. And I think that's probably also one thing I want to talk about is that, you know, you don't want to be in that position where after you write your final and you get your grade back and you're like, I got a D, or yo, I got a B, or like, I know academic validation is huge for a lot of people, or be like, oh, I got an A, right? But it's just like you should put your effort and hard work in at that moment, so later on you're not like, dude, I could have done much better. I didn't try hard enough. I didn't study enough. My time management was off. You know, you want to avoid that because honestly, that's probably even worse. But if you know you've put in all your effort, you've tried, you went over the material, you did your readings, you give it your all, and you still get a bad grade, yes, it sucks, but you shouldn't blame yourself because deep down you know, hey, I gave it my all. And I know I'm one of those people that I'm not a test person. I feel like it, like I said, like you said, it doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define who you are. I struggle with tests because the moment I sit down, and I know a lot of people go through this as well, their 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 brain just goes blank. It's all gone. And it might have to do with the stress or whatever it might be. But you know, just stay determined, stay focused, and work hard right now so you can thank yourself later.
And with that, if you do your best and you're like, man, I gave it my all, bro, and I still got a bad grade. Again, let me tell you this: struggle creates greatness, right? And I'll give you a story that everybody knows: Michael Jordan, right? Yes, he got cut from the A team and played on the B team, but he used that motivation, that struggle, in order to become great, in order to do even better. If you get a bad grade, and let's say you do fail a class or fail a test, use that as a motivation to do better. I'll give you for my example with me in high school. Whenever I remember I studied so much for one of this bio test, and I got a 75, right? Of course, again, academic validation for me was a huge part. And I was like, what? And I was like, I did everything. What am I supposed to do? I just took that motivation. I was like, okay, maybe I'm studying wrong. Maybe I need to adjust something. The next test, let me tell you, I got a 98. It all depends on how you take your failures and how you take your losses and what you're going to do with it. If you take a failure and you're going to continue to be like, man, I'm a failure, right? You can't have that mindset. You got to be like, look, I failed. Okay, how am I going to take this failure and make me even better? Turn it around. That's what you got to do.
And going back to mindset, it's just like, I know before people take final exams or midterms, they look at the class average from the year before, and they'll let that determine, like, oh, like let's say the class average is 60. Okay, I'm gonna aim for a 65. No, don't do that. Why are you trying to bring your ceiling down even lower? Aim for an A plus, even if it sounds crazy to you. Just say it. Who cares? Like, I hate it when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go in this and like I'm screwed. I haven't studied at all." Even if you haven't studied, you should go in there and be like, you know what? I'm gonna ace this test, and say it out loud and let it get to a point where you actually believe it, because your mindset. That's why they say train your mind and the body will follow. Right? So you want to have a strong mindset and just say, you know what, I'm gonna kill this test. I'm gonna get a great grade, and who knows, you might. And if you don't, then don't kill yourself for it. Like, it's fine.
And I think this last part is just have confidence. We talked about confidence before, but confidence really is key, right? You can't go into war thinking you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You have to go into war thinking you're gonna win, and that's the case in war. Some people you do die. Some people do die. Some people will fail. Yes, but it's all that mindset. It's all that mindset of, if I go take this test, I'm gonna be confident, and no matter what, if I go out of this test failing, if I go out of this test with a bad grade, I did my best. But majority of the time, people who go into the test with confidence come out with success. Always come out. Always go with confidence. And it's all about the mindset.
Yeah, it's all about your mindset.
Mamba mentality, bro. How the Mamba mentality?
Mamba.
But yeah, I think we covered everything, and I hope you guys are inspired, and hope that this helps, because this is a relatable topic for everybody, and finals is really coming around the corner. So
good luck on your finals, guys. I know it's stressful. Try having a balance. If you've been out of the gym, I know me and you have been out of the gym for God knows how long, because we've been so busy. I know classes are almost done. Exam break is coming up, so take 30 minutes out of the day, even if you don't go all the way to the gym. Just do some push-ups, take a jog. Not in this weather, but you know what I mean. Treadmill. You can do stairs in your house. Just stay active. Stay active. I think it goes hand in hand with academic success.
One last thing. Don't forget to take breaks, but take proper breaks. Don't go on your phone for 25 minutes. Take proper mental breaks. And that's it. Anyways, let's end this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Easy out, my people.
Success on your guys' test. Bye-bye.